Okay, thank you guys for being here. I am going to present to you today about the lack of diversity in majors, specifically on the University of Washington volleyball team, kind of addressing that team specifically to look at a problem that's a little bit bigger, but just kind of zoom in on a team that I'm a little more familiar with. So the reasons I picked this issue, I've been working a lot with recruiting this year, just in managing our databases and sending things out to kids. And I know that when we are recruiting student athletes, we tell them about the student athlete experience, and we sell this huge, this idea of this experience where you can get an education and you can compete in your sport. We tell them that they can do whatever they want, that they can major in anything that they're interested in, and I really wanted to take a look and see if that's actually possible. So I think that this touches on a couple of different pieces of the IAL framework, fostering a positive student athlete experience and cultivating a relationship between athletics and higher education. And I also just wanted to look at the holistic personal development for student athletes, just the experience that they get while they're at the university. So the first thing I looked at in researching this topic is the NCAA Goals Study, which comes out every few years. This data specifically is from 2015, and they survey over 20,000 student athletes on their experience, and it's from all across the country and all different divisions of the NCAA. So there's a wide range of information, and I'm going to look at two different pieces of data, which is class selection and major choice, and I'll get a little bit more into that. So the survey asked student athletes if athletics participation hindered their class selection. So if they were able to take all the classes that they wanted to while also participating in athletics. I looked specifically at Division I information, just because UW is a Division I school. And you can see right here, FBS football is over 36% of student athletes reported that they weren't able to take a class that they wanted to. The lowest is in men's other, which is still about 22-23%. So about a quarter, if not more, of student athletes were unable to take at least one class that they were interested in taking, which I think is an issue because if you need to get into a class to get into a major and you're not able to take that class, you can't participate in that major. Which leads me to my next point, asking student athletes if athletics participation prevented them in majoring in what they really wanted to. And you can see, again, 36% of student athletes. Women's basketball was at about 32%. Women's other at 25%, so volleyball would fall under that. And so 25% of student athletes were unable to use or to participate in the major that they actually wanted to, which means that when we're selling a student athlete experience to every student, I think we need to be a little bit more realistic. So you can see right here, class selection impacted 34 to 53%, depending on the sport. Men's basketball was the lowest, women's basketball was the highest, and then major choice was impacted less, but still 36% of football student athletes were unable to participate in their desired major based on their sport. And you can see right here, major choice impact has increased since the 2010 Goals Study. So in 2010, those numbers were lower, so it's an indication of a possible rise in an issue in college athletics. So then we move on to the University of Washington connection. This is just a little bit about the university. We talked a little bit this summer about schools that promote excellence and where you can push the boundary between, excellence and if you can pursue that in both athletics and academics. University of Washington is a school that tries to do both of those things. They try to be excellent in academics, be excellent in athletics. There's 180 majors and 22 varsity sports, and specifically on the volleyball team, there's 16 student athletes. And you can see right here, there's only 7 majors being pursued among those 16 student athletes. So then I kind of started to look at their schedule, the time commitment that's being asked of student athletes on the volleyball team. They have 20 CARA hours, countable athletically related activities, while they're in season, and there's 2 different segments of in season. So their spring season from April to June-ish, and then from late July into December is their championship segment. So they're participating in 20-hour weeks in both of those segments, and then during the out-of-season segment, they're participating in 8 hours of athletically related activities, which is from December to March. So here's an example of an in-season schedule. It's kind of a lot because it's a lot. It's a busy schedule. But you can see there's practice. There's 1 day off every week during their 20-hour weeks. And this is specifically in the championship segment of the season. So you can see they traveled here, they had games here. So they're doing a lot while they're in season. And it's really difficult for them, I think, to balance that. And then you can look at the out-of-season schedule. It's a little bit lighter. You can see a lot more off days. But they're still participating in things at least 3 days a week. And a lot of student athletes who are participating in indoor volleyball also participate in beach volleyball, which means that during this 8-hour out-of-season segment, they're actually participating in a 20-hour segment of beach volleyball. So they really never get an off-season if they decide to play both of those sports, which is their decision. They're not forced to do that. So my conclusion is that time commitments required by athletic participation hinder the major choices of volleyball student athletes. I think, as I mentioned, since some of them are playing 2 sports and they never truly experience an off-season, their schedule is not allowing for them to participate in majors and classes that they desire, at least not giving them the full span of options. I don't necessarily have a suggestion as to what to do to fix this, but I think that it's an issue that we need to look at in the academic advising department, in the athletic department, and just look at what we're asking student athletes to do and if it's actually plausible. Thanks for listening.